What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Gamer Kid Podcast. I am Zach, and I am joined this week with my fellow compatriots. Please state your name and address, and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Matt, and my address is 1234 Avenue Street.
It's a good one.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and my social security number is 00000000.
Mine too.
Wow!
Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm Layla. I live on None of Your Business Avenue.
There you go.
My favorite.
There you go. All right. So
How you doing?
glad to see you guys again. It's nice. It's always good to catch up. What's it called? What has everyone been playing? What has everyone been up to?
For me, there hasn't really been a whole lot new that I've been playing, so obviously just kind of sticking to the backlog. Right now, the series that I'm playing through, for no reason other than because I wanted to, is the Rayman series. So I'm currently on Rayman 3, which I'm very close to the end to. I'll probably just end up beating it later tonight, and then I'll move on to Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends. So that's what's been taking up my attention at the moment.
I was gonna say, wasn't that a Flash game at first? But then I remembered I'm thinking of that that other like side scroller game. What the hell is it? It's something with pants. Funnily enough, it's like swag pants. I can't remember what it's named. Dude's got orange pants. People will know what I'm talking about. People know what I'm talking
Something with pants. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
Pants.
about.
There
But
is,
Pants the
really
video
is,
game.
Yeah.
I'll just look up pants.
Pants game.
Pants
Yeah.
game. Let's go.
How about everyone else? What have y'all been playing?
Played some Smash with some friends over the weekend. I had my brother graduated college, so we had some people over and we got to play some Smash in front of with each other, and that was fun. It was fun.
Good.
First time I got to see people in the first year, so that was even the more important thing.
Did you
Awesome.
win?
Congratulations to your brother.
Yeah.
I beat the shit out of them.
Good.
Congrats.
Nice.
Also, nice, good.
That's good. What about you, Rebecca?
Well, I've had two big releases this week, so I've been very busy.
Yes.
Uh,
Truly.
So, new Destiny 2 season, obviously on Tuesday, and Mass Effect Remaster on Friday. So my time has been fully taken up.
There you go. What's it called? Were you playing on PlayStation? I'd imagine for Mass Effect, or no? Or your Xbox, right?
Fully
You're playing PC?
Xbox.
Oh, Xbox. Okay.
Full Xbox.
That's good.
Xbox.
Yeah, right. The reason I ask, I just saw, because I was gonna pick it up on Steam, but it is a little pricey right now, so I might just wait. But regardless, I was hearing there's some poor reviews for the port, and that kind of stuff always happens whenever it's like a PC port for like a big game like that. So I'll probably just wait for it to get a couple updates, make it a little cleaner. I don't know if you guys remember the when Dark Souls initially got ported to a PC, it was like the worst thing ever. It was like a terrible experience. It ran at like 20 frames. It was just abysmal.
I didn't know that, but that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, I know it was bad.
Sounds
But,
about right.
But yeah, well, I'm glad everyone's playing some stuff, keeping themselves busy. But
Absolutely.
let's just it's a pretty light news week, so this episode might be a little condensed for our viewers. But yeah, let's just get started. We'll jump into the first topic.
Let's
So
just jump right in.
let's just jump on into it. So unfortunately, something close to my heart, Skull and Bones, shockingly, has
Delayed again.
been delayed again. It's indefinite, right?
Well,
They
the
don't know when it's going.
what
to
I
happen.
looked up is that they found it in the earnings report for Ubisoft that
Oh.
that's how they found out the delay.
So
they
there
said
wasn't
that
even
it's-
a statement.
No, they didn't give a statement. It was in the earnings report, and people were like, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah.
So yeah, the game supposedly is now set to be released during the 2022 fiscal year, so anytime from April 22 to March of 23. Although I read it as it will be released perhaps never, but keep your hopes up, kids.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna come out at this point.
It's
No.
like if it's the release date is actually if Last Guardian made it out alive, we'll make it one day. Just keep believing.
Yeah, that's true. How long was
Right.
Last Guardian in like development for?
I think it was like announced in 2009 and then it released in like 2016. So like 7-ish years
Yeah,
Wow.
probably.
it's been like almost
What?
5, I think, for Skull and Bone, and by then it will definitely have been like 5 or 6. By that
Yeah,
time, I
it's
think.
I think it was announced in like 2017-ish
Yeah,
maybe
that's
2016 or
what I
something
was
like
thinking
that.
too. Yeah.
But at
Um.
this point I'm just convinced it's never coming out.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. I don't think it's
No.
It's
gonna.
like it's like they're sitting Ubisoft is sitting on that on Beyond Good and Evil 2 and I don't even know if they're even doing this, but before Mitchell Ansel left the game industry, he was working on a game called Wild, and we don't know where that is.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I feel like Ubisoft is focusing on like all those weird Tom Clancy things, and that's just all they want to do ever.
Did you
That's
did you guys see the trailer for it's not video game related, but Tom Clancy. Uh there's this new like Tom Clancy movie with Michael B. Jordan.
yeah.
And it's just like I keep getting ads for it on like my Amazon Prime when I was like watching Invincible because, good show. Um and they were like when a man like loses everything and it's just like him like screaming at like his like dead family, I guess, or something. It's the classic just like revenge like uh movie.
Yeah,
And I
I
just
was hearing a lot about that movie. Not a lot good, but I heard a lot about it.
really
You
okay.
couldn't pay me to watch it.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
if I was on like a bender with the homies then maybe, but like I'm not going to sit down and like actually spend time to watch.
watching a Tom Clancy movie.
Sorry, Michael, but I just
Yeah, I was like, I love Michael B. Jordan, but I don't care for the movie.
yeah, exactly.
I was even thinking about this yesterday because obviously when we're mentioning Ubisoft, and I just mentioned that I've been playing the Rayman series, which is like their OG series that got them to popularity. Um, it's like every year I'm always like, man, could this be the year that they make a new Rayman game? But then I'm like, if the game doesn't have an assassin or Tom Clancy, they aren't gonna do it.
Yeah.
They're not even really doing Assassin's Creed anymore, though. They're just doing historical fantasy and slapping that on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
like
That's
vague
the,
RPG elements. Very
like
vague RPG
I haven't
elements.
really played the series, but that's the joke people make about Assassin's Creed that it really isn't Assassin's Creed anymore. You just play
Yeah.
as some other nondescript character, and they just put Assassin's Creed on there so it sells.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's a shame really. I'm trying to think of the last like assassin because even AC4 is a great game, but it wasn't really like assassin focused.
I
I
mean,
heard that
I
was like the
guess.
last really good one from
uh,
what I heard at least.
yeah.
Well, I mean, there's an argument to make about Odyssey and Origins
Yeah,
being good games, but they're
Yeah.
not Assassin's Creed games.
yeah.
Exactly. But wasn't
Even Valhalla, I think was what was the main character in Valhalla? Like a mercenary and not
no, it was like
an assassin, a Viking.
yeah.
Right.
I think it was Odyssey that they were mercen or something like that. I heard them use mercenaries at one point. Again, most of the Assassin's Creed games just kind of blend together to me, so I was just like, oh, it's something that's not an assassin anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. No, they aren't doing that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of genres in general in gaming over the past I'd say like 10 years or so have been becoming more and more consolidated into like a blender, I guess, like how like yeah, like Assassin's Creed is like an RPG slash adventure game slash like whatever. Uh, it's kind of like Destiny with like it's got like the loot system and stuff.
Yeah.
Enemies are pretty spongy from what I hear in Assassin's Creed. Um, but yeah, it feels like dedicated genres are becoming more few and far between. Like there's
I
no
don't
just like
know.
hardcore like platformer or like action game or like
Yeah, a lot of
whatever,
games are kind of trying to blend as many genres as they can.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
understandable. Like I think, and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. I think it works for some games. Like it works really well with Ghost of Tsushima, which has like, I mean, that doesn't even. People were comparing it to like Assassin's Creed, kind of, because there was like wall jumping, and like so, and you could like climb on buildings, and I'm like, that's just like not what
But
Assassin's Creed was.
if
Like, it's so much more than that.
if Ubisoft were to make an Assassin's Creed game in 2022 about like samurai era
Yeah,
Japan,
no,
it
people
would
want
be
that.
Ghost of Tsushima. That's what
Yeah,
it would be.
exactly. Yeah,
Because that was the thing that I had heard. For even though I don't really follow Assassin's Creed, I know that for years people were asking for like a samurai themed, like a feudal Japan
yeah,
Assassin's Creed game. And then when Ghost of Tsushima got shown and released, everyone was like, "Now we don't need it because this is basically that Assassin's Creed samurai game we've been asking for
yeah,
years."
yeah.
The
People,
only difference would be that like they would put more weird fantasy things in it, and that's
yeah.
it.
With the I'm trying to remember all the Assassin's Creed lore. It's just bizarre.
No, it
Um,
doesn't make any sense. Don't
yeah,
bother.
yeah, yeah. I remember like
But don't even try.
Miranda, and like there was like wasn't there something to do with like Atlantis or something, and like the Greek gods,
I
and
don't
then
know. The
like the
Greek
world
gods were
like
like
exploded or
real.
something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it was
And then
weird.
they
I don't know.
killed the main guide. It was I don't know.
Yeah,
I watched my brother play Valhalla a bit, and there were a bunch of points where I was just like, "What's going on here?"
yeah,
Like it literally was like that.
yeah. No,
No, they've fully abandoned the lore.
yeah. It's just a mess.
Noted.
But but yeah. So glad we got to Assassin's Creed from Poor Skull and Bones, man. It's just never gonna.
Right.
It's just never gonna happen. It's just never gonna happen.
I don't
And
I
it's
don't know
so
what
easy. It's so easy to make, and they're just
it
like,
is because a
no.
lot of people were saying like when it first got shown, or like one of the first times it got shown, people were saying that Skull and Bones just looked like AC4, but you're glued to the ship.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
And
they're
even
if
then, that would be fine if they like structured if they just made it like a $20 like multiplayer game only, or like Warzone, even
Yeah.
though that was earlier on before the big free to play thing. I think if they did that now,
I've
they could
been
pull it off.
yeah, I've been hearing just like that they've had to reset the game like 5 times, like
Yeah.
reset development. I'm
It's
like,
like, what are you talking
what
about? What
what
could
for?
possibly be like resetting?
Like first and foremost, like we've been saying, you have a basis with Assassin's Creed 4 with how that did naval combat, because I've heard a lot of people say obviously AC4 was great and all that stuff was awesome. So you have the basis there. What are you restarting?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
Exactly.
Is-
It's weird.
is it taking this much effort to restart the game because maybe it was single player before, but now it's going to be multiplayer, but now we want to mix both? Like, what? How are you restarting the game from scratch this many times when you have a layout for naval combat staring at you right there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's incomprehensible. Layla, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes.
I'm just not like familiar with these like I know Assassin's Creed and like I've watched Valhalla. My brothers play like the stuff like my brothers play a little bit more than I have exposure to. So I'm just like, but the Tsushima you mentioned before, I was like that's interesting that they added like a Japanese twist to it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not well versed in it. That's why I've just been like, yeah, okay.
That's fine.
It's cool.
But let's see. So actually, if you wanted perhaps then to shed some light on new Donkey Kong Country, rumored to be in
Yeah,
development.
that
Um,
yeah. So it's supposed to be the creators of Super Mario Odyssey have like merged with them, and I feel like because Super Mario Odyssey was very good, I feel like they'll help this become a very good game as well.
Yeah.
That's what I've known so far about it. And
Yeah.
what's the
Right
last?
now, because it's just a rumor, but that's what we're hearing, that it's Nintendo's EPD team who made Odyssey that's supposedly at work on this new Donkey Kong game. I've been hearing like they're not sure if it's going to be called a Donkey Kong Country game or not, but that's besides the point. I'm not surprised personally that it's a new team working on it, because the last 2 Donkey Kong Country games were made by Retro Studios, who's obviously very busy not releasing Metroid Prime 4 because they've, been working on that for a while. And also, I think it's not surprising that we will be getting a new Donkey Kong Country, because a lot of people haven't really talked about this, but 2021 is Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary. It feels like
Yeah.
anniversary has kind of gotten like lost in the cracks because this year is like Zelda's big anniversary, Pokemon's big anniversary,
Mario's big.
Metroid's anniversary. Like, so Donkey Kong's has kind of been like flying a little bit under the radar.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it feels like it would be a good reminder of like, yeah, the game is turning 40 and now there's a new Donkey Kong game in development as a result.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and
It's
the
4
other
years
thing
old.
is, it's interesting. It's surprising that people forgot so much about Donkey Kong because it was before Mario. Like Mario started with Donkey Kong, right? Like
Yeah.
the original Mario and stuff like that. So
Mario's
so,
debut was in OG Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
so like now Mario's taking the spotlight, Zelda's taking the spotlight, but Pokemon's taking the spotlight. So Donkey Kong's just like over here, like, wow, I'm still here, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when you mentioned Smash, that was the thing with like Smash back in the day. They would add all like, oh, new Mario character, new Pokemon, new, like the Fire Emblem character, but everyone's like, what about Donkey Kong? Like, can't we get more Donkey Kong stuff?
And Diddy, no,
No.
they just had Diddy Kong like in there, like that was.
Well, that was one, but that was like way back in Brawl when they added him. Like for years, it took years for them to add King K. Rool, even though we were asking for King K. Rool for like decades.
Is he any good in Smash? Or no?
I've
I
I've
don't know what the
heard
tiers are in the new Smash.
there's no
I'm the-
tier list for Smash yet because obviously
There's a funny thing. I might like repost it, but there's like a tier thing for all the characters in the newest Smash. Who are, like there's one that Yoshi. Well, Yoshi's the what do you call it? Like there's jokes about them, and Yoshi's the one to avoid to get a what do you call it? Like
hasn't paid
you're
his
in trouble
taxes
for tax evade. Yeah, he did not pay his
Yeah.
taxes.
because that's the meme. I don't know what the tiers are for the new game though because like obviously COVID took away tournaments, but since they kept updating the game and adding like new patches and DLC, there isn't like a specific tier list yet. And because of that, I feel like I've been hearing mixed opinions on almost every character. Like, the game is pretty balanced. I think most of the characters are actually pretty good in the game. There's only, like, a few that I think are actual, like, trash. But I feel like I've heard some people that are like, nah, King K. Rool is nuts. Like, he's broken. But I've heard some people say, like, nah, he's trash. So, I don't know. I have fun playing him, if that's any consolation. But I thought of this with the new Donkey Kong game. I'm wondering if Nintendo EPD is developing it and they did Odyssey, I'm wondering if that could bring Donkey Kong back to 3D since the last few games were 2.5D, which I would be cool with. Just don't do another Donkey Kong 64 because that game, oof. That's all I could say about that game.
The last
Oof.
Donkey Kong. This is sad because the last Donkey Kong I played was the one with the bongos.
Oh,
Yeah,
You know,
I
it's
was straight up gonna ask. I was like, are they revitalizing the bongos, the DK bongos?
I would be hyped about that because the Switch is compatible with the DK bongos. 2,
Oh, really?
The look of
That's
disdain on your face when we said DK bongos is so perfect.
Listen.
I still have mine because I have Donkey Kong Jungle Beat and I have my bongos downstairs. That game is legendary. I would be cool if they brought that back. And honestly, from what I've heard, one of the, like, not EPD, but one of the Nintendo teams, like the EAD or whatever, was the team that made Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, and that was like one of their big exposures to making Donkey Kong. And that game actually helped that development team pave the way for Super Mario Galaxy to be made, which obviously is an incredible game. So, I don't know, but I mean, I would like to see what these guys will do with Donkey Kong, as long as, again, they don't do Donkey Kong 64, because just don't want to see them do that again. That game is, oof.
Yeah.
I keep saying oof,
Yeah.
but that's the best way I could describe it. Oof.
This
It's
is
a
embarrassing,
stinky.
but I still play like the 2D, the platformer one, the one that's like old, like how old games used to, the older Nintendo games used to be, just like the arcade version.
Oh, the original Donkey Kong?
Yeah,
Oh, I
Yeah,
mean, that's
I
not
got
embarrassing
that
at all.
recently.
That game is legendary.
yeah. It's just like these 3D ones and the most recent ones, I'd be like, I mean that's cool, but like I haven't, aside from the Switch games, like I haven't touched much since the Wii,
Yeah.
the original Wii, the first Wii.
The newer Donkey Kong Country games are amazing. I love them, but they are, like, really, really challenging games. Like, not unfairly challenging. Like, they're not, like, fake difficulty challenging, but they're super duper difficult. And that's, like, they kind of wear that on their sleeve a little bit. So definitely it's like a challenge getting through them.
Yeah.
Even when they re-released Tropical Freeze, because that was a Wii U game, they re-released it on the Switch with an easier difficulty mode where you can play as Funky Kong,
Cool.
which is a great addition because Funky Kong's awesome.
Yes. And
I,
you should always be able to play on easy mode, I think.
Yeah. What's it called? The only thing I remember about the bongos, I'm just focusing on that. I'm just gonna go back to the bongos. Is I saw that one YouTube channel that's really awesome. It's either him or someone else, but they played with the DK bongos. They played ranked Siege with the DK bongos. And
Wow.
he was just like slamming him, like trying to
Ranked
kill us.
Rainbow Six Siege
Yeah,
with DK
It's
Bongos.
so funny. He does like crazy stuff like that. Basically homeless is his YouTube channel. He's great.
That's funny because I've seen stuff like that with the bongos. Like with Smash, people will be like, "Here's how you could play Super Smash Brothers with the
Yeah.
DK bongos." Like, press it up here and it's the A button. Press it here and it's the B
Exactly.
button.
Oh, it's
Like,
terrible.
really funny.
Yeah. There's people do that with like Dark Souls and stuff too. I know there's like crazy like
It's
Dark Souls speed runs with like obscene controller schemes.
Right.
it's really
I
fun.
feel like I've definitely seen someone play Dark Souls with like a potato controller.
Yeah.
Like literally a potato.
They probably have, and it's
Yeah.
really fun.
I've seen it with like the Rock Band guitar playing
Oh
Dark
my
Souls
God.
2. That's so difficult. But
That
Wait, how are they? I can't even. No, oh, that's crazy.
no, it's super
That's-
funny what people
I have
do.
to see that. That sounds so funny with a Rock Band guitar.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
And
How
this
could
is-
you even do that? Isn't it like how?
Well, let's see. It's not the same, but I have a Guitar Hero controller here.
Yeah.
So let's figure this out together.
Maybe
All right, let's
maybe
do this.
the
Visual
joystick-
aids.
I would guess the joystick is the whammy bar.
Right.
Yeah, there is a D-pad, so you can move with the D-pad.
Yeah,
Right.
Interesting.
but
We'll use the strum bar as the attack button, and then
I feel like one of the buttons has to be the attack button. Like one of those.
no. See, here's
One of
what
those at
happens.
the top.
The game's mechanics are so complex that you just do combos based on like the chords that you're pressing on the top of the guitar.
there you go.
There we have it. This is now compatible with every video game ever created.
Exactly.
Okay, do it.
Like
Right.
we're solving video games at this
Imagine
point.
trying to play like Elite Dangerous or like a flight sim on a Guitar Hero guitar. That would be just a bit.
That would be really funny.
I still have like trouble playing any of those, and I want to get into them so bad, but I just like suck at trying to
You mean-
control them, like flight sims, like Elite
Oh,
Dangerous.
Flight
like,
Sims.
other
I wasn't
stuff.
sure if you were talking about Guitar Hero still.
No, I have no desire to get into Guitar Hero. I'm terrible.
Right.
At Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Guitar Hero
heard that
came for DS.
that was really fun.
I
They
like
did
that
have a
one.
Guitar Hero for DS. It was really fun. It's funny you mentioned flight simulators because I heard that the Microsoft Flight Simulator that came out last year was really, really good.
Really.
Yeah, I did. I actually did an article on that before I became like the Nintendo guy. Like I did an article and I never posted it. It was actually like because I've never played it myself, but like watching it secondhand, like from other people playing it, it's like this is really cool. I don't know. I'd be stressed out because I can't.
Was that where the meme was? Where it's like, oh, we're going to Brazil because there was a bug in the game that like above Brazil there was this abyss that just like sucked you in if you like flew over it. I'm pretty sure that was a.
I wouldn't
I'm
be
almost
surprised if
positive.
it was that. I didn't hear
Straight
that.
up a bug.
I didn't hear that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a thing. I just remember when the game came out, everyone was giving it like 9s and 10s across the board, and
No,
a lot
yeah,
of people.
it's really cool. It has like real time weather and stuff, from what I understand.
Yeah, like it's something where like especially for a flight sim, it's super deep and like just super crazy with the amount of stuff it does.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. But okay, let's see what else is on the docket.
Well, since we're talking about Xbox and Microsoft, there's the big reveal yesterday. Reveal because it's not exactly confirmed that Starfield. I like the face you're making, Zach. Thank you. Starfield, according to Jeff Grubb, Game Industry Insider, he has confirmed that Starfield, Bethesda's new big game, is going to be coming to Xbox and PC only. No PS5 release, no PlayStation 4 release. there's obviously been a lot of speculation about what's going to happen with Bethesda's lineup of games now that they've been purchased by Microsoft, and at least for now, it looks like this new Starfield game is going to be an Xbox family exclusive. Obviously, this doesn't tell what's going to happen with existing Bethesda IP. We don't know what's going to happen with Elder Scrolls 6 or supposedly Wolfenstein 3 is in development. We don't know what's happening with those, but at least this is kind of showing that perhaps new IP from Bethesda is going to be Xbox exclusive.
Yes. Well, I have to ask, does it even matter that this is going to be an exclusive? Because we have no idea when this is coming out. We haven't even seen a
Exactly.
trailer for it.
Starfield, yeah.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like, there's been no confirmation from Xbox or Bethesda. The most that we saw of the game
Wasn't it like a
was at E3.
screensaver? Like,
It was
Yeah,
it was
basically.
2018 at E3. They showed a title card for the game.
yeah.
Now, it would be
was
very
like-
funny if during E3 they're like, it's coming out tomorrow!
Yeah,
That would be apparently I don't know if it was Jeff Grubb, but I think one of the other insiders said that the game is going to be shown at E3 and that it's going to be released in 2022.
That's not surprising. That makes sense to me.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So,
if
I
if
think-
it is true that it's going to be Xbox exclusive, I'd like to think that's a pretty big win for Xbox because there's been kind of like I know that exclusives are like a very tricky topic for a lot of people, but a lot of times I think personally that like exclusives are kind of necessary to help sell a console, and I feel like there's been a lot of talk for quite a few years about how like Xbox's exclusive lineup over the last few years has been a little bit lackluster. Not crap. There's been some good ones, but it feels like it's more like the occasional diamond in the rough. But I
Right.
thought that when they bought Xbox that was just a huge thing, and that if they did push Bethesda games as exclusives, that would be pretty huge. And even with Starfield literally only existing as a title card screensaver thing at the moment, it's already like slowly becoming one of the more anticipated upcoming games.
Yeah.
So, because I think it's just that people, even with like something like Fallout 76, people still love Bethesda and they love their output. So I think a game like this is still something people are looking forward to a lot. So having something like this as an Xbox exclusive is going to be pretty huge.
Yeah, I'm wondering too if maybe it being under the Microsoft umbrella, they'll like hold it to a higher standard, I guess, or something. Like,
a little less buggy, maybe.
yeah, like they're like, okay, like we literally paid like out the ass for you, so you better put out something that doesn't like bomb on launch.
Right.
Which I think is
Yeah,
good
That's kind of something that
Bethesda
I've been
needs
thinking about
that.
as well. That's
Well-
something I've been thinking about as well. Not so much. Sorry, Rebecca. I was going to say I was also thinking about it not so much for Bethesda, but I think, for example, about how Microsoft bought, like in 2019, they announced that they bought Double Fine, and even though it's not Xbox exclusive, that means they own Psychonauts, and obviously Psychonauts 2 is one of the games that they're really hyping for Xbox. And from what I've seen of the gameplay for that, it looks really good and really polished. And I'm thinking, because Psychonauts 2 was crowdfunded. It was a game that they did a Kickstarter for and were able to make it happen. But the game looks so polished now, and I'm thinking, well, now that they're under Microsoft, that makes sense because they have the financial backing to have that polished. So I'm thinking that a similar thing will happen to Bethesda. I mean, granted, there's still a very good chance it could come out a bit buggy, but I'd like to think being under Microsoft's umbrella is going to lead to more quality control.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's interesting. Like I looked at an article just now that said that they're trying to avoid the cyberpunk thing. It's interesting how like cyberpunk paved the way for all these games to be like, we're gonna wait till closer to release to talk about it because we don't
Yeah.
want
Right.
to have people be like, oh, this game sucks because there's a lot of bugs in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. I think that there are two things, which is that first of all, I mean, it's not exactly Xbox, but do you think as an exclusive? But do you think they're gonna let you buy it on Steam, or do you only have to buy it through like the Windows PC store, whatever?
I think they'll do Steam because I know that Microsoft has released some of their quote unquote exclusives on Steam.
Yeah.
Like I think, for example, like one of my favorite, probably my favorite Microsoft exclusive of this gen was Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and that game is readily available on Steam. I know that's more of
Right.
like an indie type game, but it's still there.
Well, no,
So
even
Right.
then, like Halo and stuff, when I would play with my friends because I play on PC, you have to like log into your what's it called, your Xbox account, and it like sets you up with like your own name and everything. I think before I changed it to Little Stinker, but before I changed it, it was like Secret Bison or something. It was something bizarre. It's like some randomly generated name that it gives you. Um, but but yeah, they all have like a lot. There's a couple of them. Like Grounded game has Microsoft compatibility. Sea of Thieves that I've been playing a lot also has like
Right.
Microsoft thing. It's basically you just like go in and it's just an extra step of like annoyance before you could play the game. But
Right.
but yeah, it works fine. So I think even despite the annoyance, just having everything consolidated to one library is still nicer than having to like navigate to like different launchers and stuff. So
Even Minecraft is like, you have to log in using your Microsoft account. So everything seems to be
okay.
like, yeah.
yeah,
I
because
tried to.
Mojang is owned by
But
Microsoft.
is that only with people who bought the game after the after Microsoft had bought Minecraft? Because I can still log in with like my OG Minecraft account from like forever ago.
I guess if you
Might
didn't
be.
have one before, they're making you sign in up with
That's
that.
what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that seems likely. My other question, I guess, is that do you guys think they're gonna force Bethesda to like finally use a new engine instead of the one that they've been using literally since Skyrim?
Yeah.
It'll
Well,
probably happen sooner or later.
well,
Like
Fallout
if it,
4 was a different engine, correct?
I
what?
guess, but it's not that. I think they just like updated the engine or something. I don't know if it was
Hmm.
fully a different thing.
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised. I mean, granted,
mod support.
I was gonna say, granted, given that Zach mentioned that they paid out the ass to buy Bethesda for like what, like $7.4 billion,
Yeah.
I'd like to think there's gonna be a point where they're probably gonna say, guys, you need to use a new engine. Like there are brand new consoles out. There's a PS5 and a Series X. Like we have the most powerful console. We need you to build games for that. So sooner or later,
Right.
they're probably gonna say like, dude, sorry, I know this is your engine, but you need to use something else.
Yeah.
Right. Phil Spencer is gonna take Todd Howard to a nice, quiet corner, and he's
He's
just
gonna
say,
put a
"Listen."
gun up to his head.
He's gonna say, "Todd, I know you like tricks, and I know you like lies, but if you don't update the engine, I will kill you."
He's
Yeah,
gonna give
exactly.
Phil Spencer's gonna give Todd a 30-minute spiel about creativity, and the sum up of it is gonna be, you need a new engine.
Yeah. But I am concerned though about because I just thought of this when we were talking about like mod support. How is Microsoft cool with that? 'Cause I feel like Microsoft wouldn't be cool with that.
No, I think they are cool with that. I think.
But it's like
It
Yeah, I
paid,
don't-
seems
though.
like it would be weird if they weren't, because the Bethesda themselves, not counting Arcane or ID Software, has really been leaning into mod support for
Yeah,
their
to like
console
fix
versions
their
of their
broke ass
games.
games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
I think they would be okay with it because, at least from what I understand, even though they are owned by Microsoft now, Bethesda is still going to self-publish or something like that. Like they still
Oh,
have some type of weird publishing thing with their games. So I'd like to think that Microsoft will like oversee but not like breathe down their neck in regards to mod support. So I mean, I'd hope they'd continue that because I know that's a big thing when it comes to Bethesda games, but I don't
right.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be like EA suddenly being like, you can't mod for The Sims anymore. Like, it would be very
That's a travesty.
bizarre.
Yeah. That would be a travesty. There's so much great Sims mod content, I feel like. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But but yeah.
Which, speaking of EA,
I was
Uh-oh.
about to
Yeah.
segue into it.
Oh,
too.
great.
That's
You're
funny.
never gonna start the EA thing again.
No.
Or
I had
Battlefield.
to do a Tom level transition because
Yeah.
Tom is good at these transitions. So I was just like,
Exactly.
speaking of EA, Battlefield
Battlefield.
6.
Yes.
Ooh.
Do we know
Yeah, I mean, it's
what's
not
the
really that.
setting supposed to be?
I don't know.
I actually
Wait.
listened to
I
the
have a quick
audio. The
question.
audio seemed cool.
I have a quick question. Has anyone here actually played a Battlefield? Because I have not.
Yeah,
No.
I was huge into Bad Company
I
2. Like
Sounds
I
like something my
actually
brother
big
could
into
play
it.
though.
I beat the campaign for Battlefield 1, and then I recently, because it was free on PlayStation Plus, tried to play the campaign of Battlefield 5, and then it made me feel sick, so I just stopped playing the game. Um,
Like motion sick or like epilepsy or like
no, it's just like the game was frustrating me, and I felt myself getting a bit of a migraine.
mm, okay.
It
Oh
was
wow.
it was
Okay.
really bad. Like it was something where my problem was Battlefield 1, the campaign of that game as short as it was, and as much as there was like a good amount of like watching and like cutscenes and stuff like that, it still like would stop to remind you that it was a fun game. Like it still had decent gameplay, but Battlefield 5 was just way too cinematic, way too scripted, way
Yeah.
too hey, this is a
Right.
movie. So that was my thing with this new game. I was like, I really at this point because I also at some point I think because again it was free on PS Plus, I tried to play the Battlefield 4 campaign and I couldn't get into that game either. So I feel like I've been burned enough by Battlefield to not really get super excited for the next game. Even if they're like, "Oh, it's going to be a true next gen game."
Yeah, that doesn't mean
I'm
anything
like
to me. Like
I'm like it means nothing also because EA they are like the kings of
Crash.
literally kings
Chain-burning
not
games.
well that but I was gonna say they're the kings of touting innovation when there's no actual innovation in their
yeah.
games. Like I can't tell you how many times I've watched an EA E3 conference and heard like the James Bond villain Andrew Wilson go on stage talking about creativity and innovation only to not show anything creative or innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why with this one I'm just like I've been burned enough to not believe them when they say it's a true next gen game.
Yeah.
Right. Also, I just looked up. The rumors are that the setting is either still going to be the Second World War, so same as Battlefield 5, just a larger
That
scale,
turned out really good.
or somewhere in the same, like, not timeline, but around the same time period.
Which it would
So,
be
I don't
weird if
know,
they
something like directly after. I don't know.
it would be weird if
What,
they
maybe
stayed
the
at World
Korean
War
War
II
maybe?
because what'd you say?
The Korean War maybe?
I don't know.
Has there
The
ever been
rumor
a
is
Korean
based
War
on
movie? I
the.
don't think there has.
I don't think there has, but the rumor is based on like the 5 seconds of Battlefield 6 that people have seen.
Yeah, 'cause
It
they released
looks
some like
very similar.
they leaked some screenshots of it too. It would be
Right.
weird also if they stuck to World War II because the rumors are that this year's Call of Duty game is it's Sledgehammer making it and apparently they're going back to World War II with it. So apparently the game is called Call of Duty World War II Vanguard or something like that.
Uh,
So it would be weird if they released a Battlefield World War II game and then a Call of Duty World War II game. That's I think
Fine.
that's been my concern with them going back to the boots on ground stuff. I'm like, oh, it's cool that you're back to doing that, but Jesus, every game gonna be World War II?
Yeah.
yes, every game's going to be World War II because, first of all, that was the last war that anybody thinks is justifiable. And also, they really love to do this thing where every character is like a big burly white guy, basically.
Yeah.
And like, where's my World War II
there was
game
a
about the Night
considerable amount
Witches?
of
They're
those.
so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know. I'd be super interested more in I was actually just talking about this in terms of in terms of film, how I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but in right after the Vietnam War there was a lot of Vietnam War movies, and during there was a lot of Vietnam War movies. And then within the 90s to like the 2000s there's been a lot of like World War II stuff.
Right.
So I'm wondering, and now there just like haven't really been any. There was like that one World War II movie that came out recently that had one of the Jonas Brothers in it that was like dog shit. Um, but I'm wondering if
Really?
there's gonna be like
What movie was that?
exactly. It was some like flying movie. I don't know. I guess World War One's the new one, the new-ish one.
Right, Dunkirk, 1917, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Well, Dunkirk's World War II, I think. I think.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it might
Yeah,
be.
it is World War II.
But yeah, 1917.
But no, yeah, I do think there needs to be like a setting change in general.
Right.
I do think Vietnam would be really cool just to explore. That whole, I think the idea of like a jungle is inherently like claustrophobic and could create a really good setting. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just as much as I love the World War II setting, I am weary of it to
Weird.
say the
Yeah.
least.
Well, I feel like the worry with stuff like Vietnam and also, to a further extent, the Iraq, Afghanistan, so on and so forth wars, is that these wars are not
Not
good
great. Yeah. Well, we
wars.
lost.
Like
Yeah.
these are wars
Yeah.
where
We
the
lost. Yeah.
American is the bad guy, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
don't like that.
because I was gonna say that's I think my worry because I'm like I guess World War II is safe because if you try to go away from that you end up being 6 days in Fallujah, which obviously has been carrying a wave of controversy behind it,
Right.
rightfully so, and I guess that's probably why they're just like, oh, I guess we'll just stick to World War II because it like Rebecca said, it's
just
probably one of
easy.
the
Yeah.
the safest ones they could go with
Honestly,
where
I
it
just
won't
feel
look
like
bad.
we have to go backwards more. Because the further back you go, the less people care about if the war was justifiable or not,
I
right?
don't know.
So if we just go back to like some weird 6 Days War, War of Roses,
Napoleonic.
whatever,
The
yeah, like
Napoleonic War.
just keep going
Just
back.
the
and
I
Hundred
just-
Years War for
I don't
some
know.
reason.
I think it's important to push the envelope. I think because that if you're so afraid of like, you know, if you want to like play it safe all the time, you end up with a lack of innovation. And
Right.
Yeah.
I think yeah, sure, it's harder to like make stuff that happened more recently, but you just try, just fucking
Yeah.
try. Like I don't understand.
I know. Just
the
try and
issue
make
is.
something that isn't propaganda or
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Just do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
It's not super hard. What's it
Just
called?
make sure it's not a military recruitment tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
I
is,
mean-
all that Call of Duty is, but that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I
And
mean-
what 6 days in Fallujah is probably going to be.
Yep. Well, I found it interesting that for a second it was like I thought they were going to do a thing where you got to be also on the enemy's perspective as well. Like I thought you're going to get to be an enemy combatant as well as an American soldier, and then they were like, no, you're going to be a civilian. That like they almost did something so cool, and then they just didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I
They're
don't know.
silly. I mean, what can you expect from EA?
That's
But,
true.
But yeah, I think.
I think- The last thing I was gonna say is I was interested to see if they'd actually make a single player campaign that's worth the damn. Only because like I know EA is not a single player like company, but I'm hoping it's nice to dream that a game like Jedi Fallen Order doing well might actually convince EA that yeah, people actually like single player campaigns, and even like to a lesser extent, like Star Wars Squadrons had a pretty good single player campaign to it. So there's just a weird unjustifiable hope in me that maybe EA will start actually caring about single player campaigns in the future because of games like that. But again, it's nice to dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
What's it called? Have they? We know that there's a sequel to Fallen Order coming out, right? That's all we know, I believe.
I think so. They have. I don't think they've said anything.
Supposedly. I mean, I don't know what the deal is now, given that Lucasfilm Games is like moving away from
Yeah.
EA and stuff, and now like Ubisoft's doing their own open world Star Wars game. I don't know what the deal is with Jedi Fallen Order 2, if that's still on the table. I hope it is because I really like the first game,
Yeah.
but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing another one.
I want to hang more with my waifu Marin. I had a big old crush on her when I was playing, even though the only interaction you have with her is like within the span of like her trying to
Yeah, like
kill
2
you.
seconds.
Yeah, it's like her trying to kill you.
Feel right.
And then you're like, oh, we have something vaguely in common, and then it's like, I love you, and then that's like
Right.
the relationship.
Yeah,
it's
that's it.
presented. It's presented very like, it is presented very relationshipy.
I mean, that's
like,
so
from the set.
Star Wars, though. If
No,
you think
it
about
is.
it, like it really is. That's all of the relationships in it.
It's just like we face a tragedy. I mean, I guess in a sense that's kind of realistic. You face like something tragic together. You have that in common, and it's
Yeah.
just
I think
easy
with
to
Resident
just.
Evil, it's the same thing right now because
Oh,
like a lot of
yeah,
everyone was expecting more time with the vampire lady with the lady Dimitrescu.
yeah,
Some people are like, oh, I didn't get enough time. Like, it
yeah.
was mostly like fighting other zombies and stuff.
Well, because it's structured a lot like four, right? From what I'm understanding.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't played it, but I watched my brother play. Like he's done 4 playthroughs of the game right now because he's going for the platinum.
yeah,
And yeah, it's pretty much like the joke we've been making is that it's kind of just like a first-person RE4.
yeah.
Right.
That's fine. Like RE4 is good, but it is very. What RE4 had was very distinct zones, each with its own like boss. Like the first one was that giant dude, who no one remembers. The second one was Salazar, the very charismatic, small Napoleon-looking man. That was my favorite arena in four. That was so great. The third one was that like military dude, and then the last one was like Sadler. Um, so yeah, I think what is Dimitrescu the first one, the first boss that you fight in the
Yeah, she's like
Dimitrescu
area
is
1.
the very, very first one.
Right. In the castle area. And then after that, it's the dollhouse, right?
Yeah, Dollhouse comes right after Dimitrescu.
Right.
And you're fighting like the lords of the area, right? That's the big shtick, yeah.
Yeah, at least from what I glean of the story, because a lot of times I just don't know what's going on because Resident Evil is, from what I've seen and from what my brother tells me, the story is very goofy. That's
Yeah.
part of the charm, I know, but I'm just a lot of times like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I feel like with Resident Evil, you kind of just have to like meet them halfway, otherwise it just doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't treat the story with more seriousness than they're treating it with.
Exactly.
And again, that's kind of part of the charm of it. A lot of times when I'm seeing the game, I'm like, it's goofy, but at the same time, I'm like, I think it wouldn't be as fun if it wasn't. Like, if it took itself too seriously, I don't know if I would be having as much fun with it.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I really liked compared to number 7, which I only watched, I did not play, is that in 7 it felt like you were always in danger all the time, forever, like basically
Scary.
no chilling place. And then 8's like they give you space in between the bad stuff, so like you can chill, and then you make the choice, like you make the conscious decision to go back into the scary thing later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a
that's
good
kind of
thing.
what I've been seeing from my brother playing it. That's pretty much, I agree with that entire perspective. That's kind of how it is. A little more cool down as opposed to 7.
Right.
Well, I think on that note, I think we should close out our episode of podcast.
Well, we have one more topic, don't we?
Do we? I don't think so.
Yeah, we have not actually discussed the major release this week.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
let's
we
do it.
briefly mentioned it. We did.
Yeah, we mentioned it. We did not actually discuss.
Yes. Do you
the,
want to do you want to take on Mass Effect?
Sure, I
Mass
guess.
Effect?
So, wait, just to be clear, none of you guys have actually played a Mass Effect game.
I've played 3, and
Okay.
some of 2.
Okay, well, 3's trash, so it doesn't count.
It's
But
not trash. It's just the ending.
I mean,
Well,
they
I've
were
heard a
never
lot
going to
of
make a good ending.
Are
So.
very much arguing about whether 3 is trash just with the ending or if the whole game is trash. I've heard a lot of people kind of lean towards that.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't know. I
it's
mean,
not
it was
trash.
fun.
It reveals a problem that BioWare always has, which is they have no idea how to end anything.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to do it.
It's like what's his name? Oh God, I'm already blanking on his name. Guy who made Super 8 and Star Wars:
Oh,
Force Awakens.
Abrams.
Right.
J.J.
Abrams,
J.J.
yeah.
Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Doesn't know how to
J.J.
end
Abrams.
stuff.
No, he
Abrams.
doesn't. I don't know. It's a consistent issue with them, and people did not really understand that it was an issue until 3, because they
Yeah,
just
'cause-
had a cliffhanger every time, and that
Yeah.
counted.
Yeah. So.
But-
I think the one thing with Mass Effect Legendary Edition that I just laugh about, again, I don't know the series, but this was something that Rebecca and I were talking about in the chat, is that it's the second highest rated game on Metacritic so far this year, and all of the top 3 games so far have been re-releases of some type.
No,
The
I thought it was the highest. It's 91 right now.
No, because Disco Elysium's director's cut is at like 96.
I thought it was like 89. I thought Disco
think
Elysium was below. Hold on.
you
let me
could check. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the number one. Because from what I
Record.
saw, the number one on Metacritic is Disco Elysium Director's Cut. Number two is Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and then number three is the PS5 port of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Okay. The final cut is
Final
96 based on 9 critic reviews, but there seems to be some. But that's the PC one. I think the other ones are different.
The
That's
other ones
why
might be
there's
lower.
yeah. The one for the PlayStation and Xbox is 89, so I'm guessing that brings down the score to some average that's below. I don't know. I don't know what the
Metacritic is
argument is.
Metacritic's weird anyway, so it's just like
No, but the top 3 are all remasters.
yeah, the
That's
top
still
three
true.
are all just re-releases.
I think that
Yeah.
Although the top original game is It Takes Two, which makes me happy because that game's really freaking good.
It Takes Two is really good. I had the chance to play that recently. That's a fun game.
It's really, really good.
I do feel like how can you review a re-release in a way that like reflects what it is now and not the thing that you already know you like? You know, like does that make sense? How is that? How can you do that?
well, it would have
I
to be
feel
done
that
by someone
because-
who hasn't played the original game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel that because before even joining the Gamer Kit, I would just do like I had a GameSpot profile where I would review stuff, on like a user rated Metacritic, and a lot of times if I was reviewing like a re-release of a game that I had already played, I kind of like always would put at the top, this is just a review of the new version, not the original. And it's always tough because I'm like, I feel like you want to review it specifically discussing the quality of the port and the re-release, but at the same time you kind of want to in some way take the quality of the games into account. Like I think that's kind of like what I would do is I would make sure to like point out this isn't going to be a blow for blow analysis of the quality of each game, but that will be taken into account like a little bit. It's mostly just going to be more about how this stands as a port or as a re-release or as a collection of some type. But it's a lot harder than just reviewing the base game.
Right. Which is why I want one of you guys to play, if none of the others, at least a little bit of the new Mass Effect 1 specifically, because that's the one that's been changed the most out of all of the 3. And I want to see if it holds up to someone who has never played it before. Because to me, I'm like, oh my god,
You're
it's
talking
so much...
the original game?
No. I want to see if you guys think how you guys feel about the re-release having no like context for how not great the original thing is.
Okay, because I was gonna say when you said the original game, I thought you meant just the first Mass Effect specifically.
No. I just because as someone who's played Mass Effect 1 like 8 times, like I'm like, wow, the graphics are so much better, the combat isn't garbage anymore. Oh my god! And I wonder if that's like my context of the original thing is ruining my ability to actually see what it
It
is.
is like objectively.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean that's something definitely to think about, and it'd be worth trying the game for that specific reason. I think I've heard people say again that it does hold up really well and that it's still like as fun today as it was then, but then again, the people like I saw these impressions on Twitter and I don't know if these people tweeting about it were people that played the original game or like were very into the original, so I don't know if it's like yeah, it plays just as well, but I played the original, so that's how I kind of feel.
Yeah.
No,
So-
Mass Effect 1 inarguably plays better than it used to, but it never played well in the first place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I see what you're saying.
Like, the story was always great, but the actual combat and graphics and so on and so forth were always a little whack.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Again, I didn't know that because I haven't played the series, but that's kind of that's definitely an interesting perspective.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean when I get like a new graphics card in maybe like 3 years, I'll try it out. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I've had like a fleeting curiosity about the series just because like I have friends that love it and like, you know, I know it's super popular. I feel like with that series, I'd probably try it after, like I'm not itching to play it, so I feel like it'd probably be something that I'd try out, like if there's a price drop at some point, like maybe then I'll be like, all right,
During a summer
probably.
sale.
Yeah.
yeah, because I know also like my brother will just buy games to buy games, like a lot of times,
Right.
like if they just seem cool. And because of that, there's at least a 25% chance that the game will show up on my doorstep or end up in my collection somehow. So that I'd probably end up trying it just out of morbid curiosity in that regard. And then
Right.
I feel like that's when I'd be able to have a clear answer to your question of will it hold up to someone that didn't play the originals?
Right. I do feel like part of the like love for this series, it's because there aren't really that many really good like sci-fi games, and I mean that in whenever you play a sci-fi or a fantasy game, arguably, they tend to do this thing where when your character who's lived in this world their whole life asks a question so that you, the player, can get clarity on what's going on. They always ask it like somebody who doesn't live in the world, and
Yeah.
that's always like a huge game breaking thing. And Mass Effect is very good at not doing that.
Right. Okay, I mean,
Yeah, I distinctly remember really enjoying it and like all the dialogue and stuff. Um, yeah, I always had a blast playing three, but I never finished it. But I got pretty far into it. It was my friend's game, so I just play it whenever as it has place.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun.
I mean, yeah, that's a good perspective. That's definitely a good stuff to think about before potentially playing the game.
Always go Paragon.
Yes.
There's literally no benefit at all. That is something
No,
that
there's
they
not.
need to that they needed or they should have fixed. Because if
Yeah.
you go like negative, you just get absolutely boned like at the end. Like all of your friends just die at the end.
Everybody hates you.
Yeah,
Nobody's
everybody hates
happy.
you. Yeah, it sucks. Um, but yeah. There's that one like news reporter that everyone there's like
Oh
that's
yeah,
that
everybody
one.
punches her.
Yeah, they're like that's the one person you go like
You,
antagonist against. You just
yeah. You just. It's the one time that it's okay to be a jerk.
yeah. No, it's really funny. But yeah, they're definitely worth checking out for sure.
Yeah. Again, I'd probably just take a look if it got like a price drop or something, or ended up if there was some kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that covers it. Unless I'm missing anything else from this week.
No, that's pretty much every headline.
I think that's all of it.
We got to rag on Ubisoft for not releasing Skull and Bones, rant about EA a bit, have some fun with Mass Effect
Noticing a
and Donkey
pattern
Kong.
here.
What'd you say, Layla?
Noticing a pattern here. It's like we need to rant about EA at least once every podcast.
They open themselves up. This is them. They're just like, oh, we know what we do, so you guys just have fun. So I'm just like, well,
it's incredibly easy to attack them.
I'm like, well, if you want to give me free material, then I'll absolutely do it.
Yeah, exactly. But okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming by the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we will catch you all next week. So get ready to see Streamlabs. And